Good morning. Happy Tuesday. It is April 15th. This is Live with Frankie. We got a great show lined up for today. We will be having the city of Brownsville at large candidates on with us momentarily. So make sure um, you post your question on here for them to answer. But you know the drill. If you haven't already, make sure you like our Facebook page. If you watch us on YouTube, make sure you subscribe. For every comment, like, and share of this feed, this show right now really helps us with our algorithm and our reach. So make sure you assist us with that. And also, if you are a hardcore diehard fan, make sure you send us some stars. And again, you are watching the world's best podcast, according to me. Last night, Brownsville Tech Live with Danny Salinas hosted Cameron County Judge Eddie Trevino, which was um, very informative. I was impressed to see how the ideas that Judge Trevino has had for our area. One thing that I gained from yesterday's podcast with Judge Trevino was that he's a visionary. He's trying to think ahead. Legislation allows for entities, cities, municipalities to take advantage of a visitor's tax, people from the outside being taxed, in order for counties to focus on their economic development. Many have taken advantage of creating an arena, a venue of some sorts, while many people have argued and stated that, you know what, maybe it's not a good idea for us to have down here. Will we be able to compete with the likes of Edinburgh and Hidalgo for that arena? Essentially, what's happening is they are funding these venues, arenas from outside money. I thought that was a big, an important message to give to the community. And I understand the reluctance of individuals. Um, do we want to give our politicians hundreds of millions of dollars worth of contracts? I think maybe that's the reservation. Another important issue that he addressed was, how can we use these funds? Well, according to the legislator, these funds could only go towards economic development, um, in regards to drainage, infrastructure. That is something that cannot come from this money. Um, it was a very informative podcast. I'm sure many individuals possibly didn't like the, uh, I guess, the comments, the ideas that Judge Trevino had. Would it benefit Madeira? What would this new development benefit from it? Of course, they are donating the land, but nonetheless, I think it was um, a great interview. It's very important for us to hear from the individual himself. So, how does the community feel? Again, we understand that for the past two times that this item has been on the agenda, the voters have denied it narrowly. But how would you vote? Again, we are 1 week away from early voting. Um, do we have a responsibility to think big, to build an idea of a source of entertainment from charging the outside community from keeping up with the venue? Are we twiddling our thumbs by not jumping on such opportunities? It's important for, and he did address the sports park. He said that he was against the idea that back when he was mayor, Judge Trevino, back when he was mayor for the city of Brownsville, he stated that he proposed the arena back then, and he got quotes of anywhere from 30 to 50 million. You're talking about 18, 20 plus years ago. Now the arena is in the 200 ballpark because of time and inflation and what have you. But nonetheless, yesterday's interview with Judge Trevino was a great way for the community to hear what was his desire, what was his motives for pushing this idea. Because at the end of the day, ultimately, what we expect is this is going to benefit Cameron County in some sort of way. So if you haven't already, make sure you check out the interview, Brownsville Tech Live with Danny Salinas. It aired yesterday. A great interview. Today we will be speaking with the at-large candidates in regards to their vision, their goals for the city of Brownsville. Visionary in my butt. And here to join us, again, these individuals have very busy schedules. We thank them for giving us the opportunity to, put them on our platform. That way they can speak with the voters and let us know why they deserve to be leading us. And today, joining us right now, again, these individuals have very busy schedules. So I'm thankful for the opportunity that they provide me. And here today with us is Mr. Commissioner Roy de los Santos and Mr. Jason Moody. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning, Frankie.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for your time. Again, we are 1 week away from early voting. If you could talk to us about the reasons why you put your name on the ballot. Again, this position is currently being vacated by Commissioner Rose Gowen, who has served on the city commission at large. If you want to talk to us about, your platform, the reasons why you're running for this at-large position.
Mr. Moody, go right ahead.
Okay, thanks. Well, Frankie, the reason why I decided to put my name in the hat is, for the past 20 years, I've been serving my community in public service, and have a passion for public service, and it stems back from, starting from my grandparents. My grandfather on my dad's side, he was a Texas Ranger. Started serving the community in law enforcement, and then moved up the ranks to serve as a constable with the county, and then as a chief of police. And he served for about 54 years. My other grandfather was an immigration officer and was serving at the bridge, and also serving for many years. I have a sibling, I have a brother that's also in law enforcement as well and serving. And so, have various cousins and uncles that have served in different capacities. So my family has a history of public service in our community here, serving our neighborhoods and again, our constituents. And so for the past 20 years, I've been serving as a public information officer in different capacities and roles. I served as a town spokesman after receiving my communications degree, and one of the first degrees from UTV-TC with the communications program, and that pretty much launched my career as the youngest town spokesman at South Padre Island. And after that, I served as the public information officer for the Cameron County District Attorney's Office, and then went on to serve a major national nonprofit called Operation Homefront. We were serving America's military families, and so my service there was a housing portfolio, managing it was about $150 million that was managing a housing portfolio, serving America's military families, and making sure our veterans and their families had what they need to have the American dream and this was across the country, about 700 homes we had. And so after that, came on back and started serving as the spokesman and public information officer for the Brownsville Independent School District, which I'm a product of. I graduated from PACE and was a top 10, and that's what had the opportunity to attend UT Austin, and came back to finish my degree here. So I have a 20-year career span in public service, working for a city, working for a county, a nonprofit, the education sector. Now I'm a small business owner here in the public relations, marketing, and in print sector. So that's what I'm currently doing right now. And so I'm really excited to move forward and bring all that I've had the experience in those different capacities and different roles, and even serving our community in the nonprofit sector as well. I was on the board of directors with the Moody Clinic. I'm currently the Texas Exes, president of the Texas Exes for the UT chapter down here, raising scholarships for students, and sit on various boards. So I have that experience as well in the nonprofit sector. So again, just bringing all that experience to the city of Brownsville, moving it forward. There's a lot that's going on, and we're growing so much, and that's basically my background. I do have some visions and priorities, and we can get that in discussion a little bit later. So.
And for myself, Frankie, I was elected in 2021 to be commissioner for District 3 for the city of Brownsville. At that time, the U.S. Census numbers from 2020 had been delayed because of the pandemic. As a result, I was elected to the largest district in the city's history, over 60,000 residents that I represented on day one when I took that oath of office. Several months later, and actually more than a year later, we finally got through the redistricting process, which did not go as smoothly as one might think it could. But once that happened, we were looking at what does the future growth of Brownsville look like and what makes the most sense. This was not about what do I want for myself or what do I want to represent. This was about ensuring that District 3 remained the most diverse in the city of Brownsville, from ethnic background to socioeconomic background, all across the spectrum. District 3 was the most diverse, and I wanted to maintain that, but also recognizing that the strongest growth in the city of Brownsville is on our north side and was going to continue in District 3. And did it make sense to set ourselves up to where it's going to be so lopsided again? Because while I had over 60,000 residents, District 1 only had 32,000. And by law, you cannot have more than a 10% variance from your largest to your smallest districts. Knowing all these things, what we decided to do, the first big move was moving the area where Madeira is being developed, moving that into District 4. It was already in District 3, but again, with the growth we already know is coming and happening, it didn't make sense for us to keep a master plan community. And now we have another master plan community coming into District 3. So that would have been 2. It would have been lopsided again. 2, knowing that the growth would be strongest in 3, we decided to make District 3 the smallest in the city, with only 45,000 residents when we got done with redistricting. And the other districts were between 46 and 47,000. Also for District 1, we wanted to ensure we picked up areas that were previously part of District 2 and would go out towards Boca Chica Beach, because we expect growth in that area will go up with SpaceX and now with Starbase coming. And then for District 2, I was able to give up areas in the Hudson developments, Paseo de la Resaca. And it made sense because most of what I had was on one side of Paredes already. So Paredes line became a natural dividing line for us. And we like to try and stick to regular streets or main arteries for dividing lines when and where we can and when and where it makes sense. But at the end of the day, I also felt like there's 25% of my base that I represented that I'm now losing. That these people, when they pick up the phone for that first year, who's your commissioner? Roy de los Santos. Suddenly, who's your commissioner? It's somebody else now, because you've been moved into another district, probably without your knowledge. And so I want to ensure I represent all those same people again, and the larger community, because one of the things I have learned also my first 4 years on the commission is district commissioners get left out of way too much. And that's improper in my opinion, because although we may not represent the entire city, we represent a part of the city of Brownsville. We represent thousands, tens of thousands of constituents. We have a right to be included, to be informed, to be aware, and to have our questions answered. And that's not always the case at the city of Brownsville. And that's something I hope to change as an at-large commissioner, to ensure that every citizen's voice is heard.
An important issue that has raised a lot of doubts and questions has been the arena. We have a question here from Rafael. How do you as a candidate justify wanting to build an arena when people are struggling as it is economically? And this proposition would honestly be a tax increase. Why aren't infrastructure improvements more important than building an arena? Where would it be located? Would it be a joint venture with the district or college, Mr. Moody?
The only information that I know or that I have or I'm aware of is that it's going to be a tax. It's basically there's no taxes that are going to be imposed on a property, right? That's what I'm understanding, right, Frankie? That's, I think, the information that we have or aware of, that it's going to be used on a hotel tax or the visitor tax. That's going to be the line item or budget that's going to be coming from. I think that the next steps are to see if the community wants this arena, and I believe that there is support from the city as the resolution has been passed. I think there's also a resolution or some type of lot of support from UTRGV and different entities that are surrounding, because they do see that this is a positive attraction, because local folks that are going to be living here are going to be spending their dollars here in our county instead of visiting the neighboring counties or, San Antonio or other cities. That all the dollars will be spent here for that. That's the understanding. That's the information that I'm privy of.
So let's say on this topic, first and foremost, Rafael, I know there's a lot of people out there telling you guys that this is a tax increase and this is going to be a tax increase and your taxes are going to have to go up to support this. That is an absolute lie. And that's the typical thing that someone will go to when they just want to be against something and they have no valid reason for it. They always want to go to your taxes are going up, your taxes are going up, your taxes are going up, because we know how hard it is on families right now. We know what the burden is of property taxes on families and the rising costs due to inflation and other items. And the best way to combat that is to ensure we're diversifying our income streams as a city. So first and foremost, the city of Brownsville is not funding this. This has nothing to do with the city. This has nothing to do with the city's hotel occupancy tax money. Those go to other projects for the city of Brownsville, but again, for economic development and to bring in tourists. It's about putting heads in beds to keep that money flowing from outside of Brownsville. So the city of Brownsville is not funding this in any way, shape, or form. Because the funding is going to come from hotel occupancy taxes and a fee on tickets at the venue, a fee on rental cars, and the hotel occupancy tax on hotels throughout Cameron County. There's not one less street that's going to get fixed if this arena passes. There's not one less pothole that's going to get filled if this arena passes. And there's not 10 more streets that could have been done if this arena fails. This arena will have zero impact on the infrastructure needs of the citizens of Brownsville and the citizens of Cameron County. So if that's the reason, because you're being misled into that, understand all of that is false. I can understand people being concerned about, can it support itself? But to say it's going to be a result of rising taxes, that's just simply not the case. Most importantly, as we diversify our income streams, and tourism and sales tax are one of the biggest things, biggest opportunities. And that's why opening new businesses is so important in Brownsville, and streamlining our permitting process is so important, because it brings new jobs, new wages, and new sales tax revenue into the economy. The more we can do that, the easier it is to reduce the dependency on property taxes. And so next time, if property taxes, let's say, for example, should come down to 50 cents for the no new revenue tax rate, but the city can go up to 58 or 59. Well, then maybe the city can just do 56 or 55 or 54. If we've got the money coming in from somewhere else, to ensure that we're not fixing less streets and hiring fewer police officers and hiring fewer firefighters, because we cannot skimp on the services that our citizens need out there. We cannot skimp on the infrastructure. So we've got to ensure anything we're going to reduce property taxes by is offset by income from another area. Sales taxes is the best area for it to come from, and the arena will absolutely be a driver for sales taxes, not just for Cameron County, but for the city of Brownsville. And I expect, as we get people coming from out of town to come to events at this venue, since most of them are coming from either west of us or north of us, when they get done with their event, they're not going to drive into the city of Brownsville going further south to go look for something to eat or something to do. They're going to be going home on the highway, which will be San Benito, Harlingen, that they may stop at. They may be going out to the island, which will be Highway 100, Los Fresnos, Port Isabel, South Padre, that they'll stop at. So there will be a ripple effect for other cities in Cameron County to benefit from this arena.
Tourism. Tourism is something that the city of Brownsville benefited handsomely from. According to Mayor Cowan on his State of the City address, he stated that the city of Brownsville in 2024 received close to $100 million, in large part to SpaceX. As a commissioner at large candidate, how do you pitch the city of Brownsville? How do we increase that 100 million to 200 million? Mr. Moody?
I guess I'm going to start. I'm going to be the one that's posed with all the questions first, right? No. Well, I think we need to put a proper marketing communications plan in place. I've worked with a lot of the Fortune 500 companies with a nonprofit that I was working with for over 6 years. And I think what we need to do is tell the story. I think we need to be marketing to some of those, to those specific Fortune 500 companies. I know that we have a couple of hotels that are building, and those are almost all ready to be launched here in Brownsville. And I think looking at the landscape and even the areas where Brownsville and Starbase are going to be connected, and looking at that landscape, I know that there's many new developments that are going on at the moment near Starbase and near SpaceX. And so we need to incorporate, and even the stakeholders, and get those folks involved in making sure that we have a solid and firm marketing communications plan, and incorporate international followers and international audience, so that way we can ensure that we can double our dollars in the tourism aspect of it all. We have South Padre Island, and half of the residents there are from Monterrey, or the sister city, or even from Mexico. And so a lot of those dollars are continue to be spent even on the island and the surrounding areas. And that's something that we just need to focus on, collaborating and making sure we have those great partnerships with other cities and entities, so that way everybody can be on the same page and just increase those dollars.
And don't worry, Jason, I promise not to steal your answers on any question. But Jason makes some very good points. I am also a marketing guy by nature. That just came natural to me even before I had my degree. And Jason's right about the marketing that needs to be done. A lot of this is already being done for the city of Brownsville in foreign markets in Mexico and also across the US. At the end of the day, though, and I'm sure Jason would agree, it's not just about the marketing and how you market. It's also about the product you're selling. Because if you're not selling a product that people are going to want and enjoy, then it doesn't matter how much you polish it. At the end of the day, even if they come one time and say, like, this is not what I was sold, I'm not coming back. Mm-hmm. So this is about ensuring we have a place, a destination that delivers on everything we're promoting out there as part of the marketing campaigns. And adding more to what we have to offer is how you continue to get more and more people to come to Brownsville. So right now we offer our beaches, we offer our trails, we offer the environment down here, the tropics, and that it's warm here when it's cold in other areas of the country. We offer SpaceX. We offer the Gladys Porter Zoo. I also offer the history of the area from historic battlefields for people that are big on history. So these are great assets, but we need more. And this arena is one more where now we can say we've got university basketball, we've got university volleyball, we've got monster truck shows, or we've got bigger artists coming to Brownsville or to Cameron County than you're going to see in other arenas, because Cameron County will have a larger arena than anybody, hopefully south of south of San Antonio. And if we do that, we do it the right way, we'll be attracting a lot more tourists. And I've always felt, and the people I've spoken to over the years who have relocated here have reaffirmed this. Once people come down here and get to experience it, they realize how great a place this is and how the cost of living is much more affordable than where they're coming from up north. And that encourages people to want to relocate to South Texas. We've benefited from that in the past. We can benefit from that more in the future. Again, it's about getting people familiar with the communities down here, And we've got some beautiful cities in Cameron County. I love all the resacas in San Benito. I love Los Fresnos. I've got family there, and the annual rodeo. I love South Padre and the beaches. There's so many great things that there will be something for everyone. There's not just one niche that's out there that we can appeal to. There's multiple between all cities in Cameron County. But again, it's first about bringing these tourists in to show them who we are, which will ensure that they come back or that they consider relocating here.
Ms. Simpson, I'm not sure if you want to address HB 2370, 4755, and 3196 presented yesterday. We're addressing the hot tax, which would allow San Benito, South Padre, Harlingen to use their tax towards their debt on projects built or to be built. So that hot tax, this venue would be counting on, would actually be going to these instead, which they should be.
I'll lead off on this one, and no, that is absolutely incorrect, because you said it perfectly right there. San Benito, SPI, and Harlingen. That's not Cameron County. It is not San Benito's hot monies. It is not SPI's hot monies. It is not Harlingen's hot monies that'll be going towards this arena. It's the Cameron County portion of hot monies that go to this arena. So that House bill right there, if what you're representing is exactly as it says, will have zero impact to the pool of money for this arena. And those cities will be able to be at liberty to do what they want with that money. I've got to go and look at those bills because I was not familiar with them. And
yeah, it seems
like I'm going to take a screenshot of it.
Yeah, it seems like that's going to be directed towards the city and the jurisdiction of the city and not the county. And the county with the hot tax, it's going to be under the direction of the county commissioners or the EDC in that direction of those entities. Sorry.
And one other thing I'll throw on there is keep in mind, and a lot of people aren't familiar with this, the Hotel Motel Lodging Association is an organized group in the state of Texas, and they've got a very strong lobby in the state of Texas. And they ensure that they stay directly involved with legislation that touches hotel occupancy tax money. Because absolutely to them, it's like, if my people are paying more taxes, I want to ensure that I'm going to benefit from how these taxes are used, which is why they want mostly things that will bring heads to beds. So again, I've got to read these bills and see exactly what they say and exactly what they touch on and what their limits are. But those bills will not in any way impact the pool of money for the arena. And it sounds like those might be a win for those cities that are being mentioned.
Yeah.
When county judge says that the funds will not be taken out of the county coffers, nor will it come from the citizens, is it fair to say that the citizens will still feel the effects of an arena? Will their property values go up, which will increase in taxes? Is that something to address, or is this more of economic development? This is good overall for our community.
This is definitely economic development overall is good for the community. Will property values go up? They're going up whether the arena is built or not. That is just the nature of the beast. And I know I've heard that the appraisal district, and keep in mind, it's not Cameron County that does the appraisals or that assesses those taxes. It's the appraisal district, which is a completely separate entity. They're under mandate from the state of Texas. They've got to get up to market value for what property values are in Texas, for our region especially. And if they don't, they could be taken over. They could be taken over by the state comptroller's office because they have an obligation to do their job. And it's not just about how do we keep the taxes low for people down here, because that also impacts every other entity out there. So they've got a job to do. I think they're going to continue doing it. I have no doubt. So while the arena might be a factor for people who live in that vicinity, you can absolutely make the argument one way or the other. And that's why the appeals are important, that, well, yes, there's an arena here, but now that's extra noise and extra traffic and extra everything else. So that shouldn't raise my value. That should lower it. And you can make those arguments when you go to the appraisal district.
Many people have been, I guess we've all been feeling the pinch because of SpaceX and the higher property taxes. Everybody says that, is Brownsville going through gentrification where the people on fixed income aren't going to be able to live? What's your idea as a commissioner? What can you promise towards the people that you're going to work towards in regards to our local economy and our local job growth? What's your message?
Jason, you want to lead
Yeah,
on that
yeah,
one?
sure, yeah. I mean, if I get elected, like, you know, I can never promise anything or whatever, but the only thing I can promise is I'm going to work hard to ensure that the resources are there for everyone, and making sure that we're thriving and not struggling. And that's one of the visions and priorities that I have here, is bringing forth a comprehensive plan to keep BTX moving forward. We need a comprehensive plan, and that's going to be at the top of my list, in order to prioritize and provide details, or even at the department. So we have a comprehensive plan. We need to prioritize certain things for each of the different departments in order to be successful. I believe we have a couple of plans, such as a downtown plan or a parks master plan. We have these small little plans, but we don't have an overarching plan for the city of Brownsville. And that's the experience that I have that I want to bring forth, that we need to have a 20-year roadmap. We need to have a strategy for growth and development. And this is going to help us be successful, whether if it's going to be gentrifying Brownsville or providing a preventative maintenance plan for our fire department or for our police department, or even growth, or providing certain items or certain gear for our police and fire, and that's going to be another priority. So we need to have this comprehensive plan in order for us to prioritize and provide this growth and development and this strategy, a 20-year roadmap that's going to really continue the success for the city of Brownsville.
So gentrification is something that's happening whether we like it or not, and it's not something that city government or county government can put a stop to. And let me put it in the simplest terms. Let's say you've got a building downtown that's been vacant for a while, nice historic building, and it's passed from one generation to the next in families as people have passed on. And now you've got someone, whether it's one family member, multiple family members, who have this building that, let's say, has been on the tax rolls for $100,000 for the last 20 years. And suddenly you have someone coming and offering them $1 million for what was never worth $1 million before. Are you going to tell them they don't have a right to accept that offer? Of course not, because this is America and people have a right to sell their products and get the highest value for it. But when you're selling to someone at that higher price, and it's because of market demand, but when you're selling at that higher price, that person who buys it is going to want a return on that investment. So they're going to build something that generates more revenue, that creates jobs, put wages into the economy, generates more sales taxes. That is going to make the area better. And gentrification, especially as it applies to downtown Brownsville, was needed. We had gone from the heydays in the 70s and 80s, and then got hit after the peso devaluations, and it became a ghost town. And you could find the occasional ropa usada downtown, where you could go buy clothes for 50 cents a pound. That is what downtown became. So right now, gentrification to me for downtown is only bringing it back to where it used to be, to make it a sparkling jewel for the city of Brownsville. The best part about what's happening today, especially in the downtown area, is that it's not corporations coming in here. It's not some national chain. These are local citizens who are putting together business ideas, opening restaurants, opening bars, following their dreams, and they're making a successful run at it. So at the end of the day, it's citizens of Brownsville who are benefiting from that gentrification of the downtown area. And that is not something that we're here to oppose or to stop. It's going to happen one way or the other, but ensuring that locals have a leg up, and locals stand to benefit most, so that we're not seeing it becoming corporate America, but becoming Brownsville's downtown. That should be the goal of our city council. And I can tell you, for my experience these last 4 years, the council we have today, that's absolutely what their focus is. It's about how to make Brownsville better. I don't see personal agendas being driven by any individual member of the commission. We have differences of opinion on how to get there sometimes, but everybody is working towards the same goal. And I think that's why we're seeing the results we're seeing today.
Luis states, many times we see people running for office in the community, giving chicken plates for free, etc. However, once elected, many, not all, tend to be non-visible. For example, coffee talks with the mayor were conducted at 8 a.m. during the week. Unfortunately, not many could attend. Luis Rodriguez asks, how will you be visible and forthcoming as an elected official during your term?
I think that's important. Communication is important. I think having a program, once if I do get elected, trying to instill a program that's going to provide communication. For the past 20 years, I've been a hub of communication for different entities, and that's something that I would bring forward to this at-large position, whether if it's having coffee talks or having town hall meetings or just even walking the community at different times of the quarter of the year and just trying to get some feedback. My goal and purpose is to have those lines of communication always open and be a hub of communication, and also trying to receive feedback, whether if it's from our neighbors or our small businesses or just a single individual that's living here in Brownsville. Everybody has everybody's going to be important. Everybody has their voice to provide and to opinionate as well. So all that information is important information, because that's how we're going to receive that and move forward as a community. And that's my slogan, is moving all generations forward, receiving this information so that way we can be together as a community, as a neighborhood, and instilling that vision for our future. That's also a component where it's important. We need to have that communication and those lines open to everybody. So that's something that I would definitely have in mind for us in the future.
So the two things that I've done already in this vein, first and foremost, is I hired an assistant when I became city commissioner, and I did this at my expense. The money comes out of my pocket. The taxpayers don't fund this, but it's someone who, when I'm busy between 8 and 5, or if I'm busy between 8 and 5, they're able to answer those calls. And the individual who serves in this capacity now is a retired city employee who works with me. And she does an amazing job, because she probably has better institutional knowledge than I do about who all the players are in every department at City Hall and at City Plaza, to be able to make the right phone call first and foremost for whatever the citizens' need is, to get it addressed. And I can tell you there's so many times where by the time I'm freed up several hours later, problems are already resolved. And I just get an update on, these are the problems we took care of today. That's something I will continue to do as a commissioner at large, is ensure that my office is always accessible, whether it's me personally or an assistant who I'm paying for, but ensuring that the needs of the constituents are always taken care of. Ensuring we continue to promote 546 help is very, very important. I even tell my mother, Mom, call 546 help first, because they put in a work order, and then I'm able to log into the system and track it from start to finish. It's not just about, I made a call, is it fixed yet? No, now there's a paper trail throughout our system that will show us how our complaints from citizens are being handled. And that way you can look at not just complaints that you're aware of as commissioner, but also all the others that come up out there. So that's very important. The last part is, I started town halls when I became a commissioner. And I know we're seeing a lot more folks doing town halls, podcasts, coffees, and that's a good thing. That's great for the citizens. That makes us more accessible. I don't disagree at all about the 8 a.m. time, but bottom line is, regardless of what hour you have it, somebody is always working at that time. Whether they're in the service industry and they work afternoons and evenings, whether they're in the hospitality industry and they work weekends, there's always somebody who's not going to be able to attend regardless of when it's held. But we should ensure balance. And I know what I try and do, while the mayor's having stuff during the day and in the mornings on weekdays, I try and have my town halls in the evenings and on weekends, so that the folks that cannot traditionally attend the other coffees can attend my town halls. And plus, I also stream them so that folks can ask questions online, very much like we see here today, because it's not just important to answer the questions of those who have the time to show up and be in the room. It's any citizen across the city of Brownsville should have a right to have their question answered. And that's the other reason why I go on so many podcasts when invited. And I like the fact that for several years now, I've been called the most accessible commissioner. And again, people are like, why are you going on that show? That show's controversial. That person says negative things. That may be the case, but they have followers, they have listeners, and those followers and listeners are citizens of Brownsville. Just because they follow one podcast versus another should not dictate whether or not they have a right to have their questions answered and to have them answered directly by an elected official. That's why I make myself as available as possible. And I commit to doing that again these next 4 years and expanding where we can, possibly doing a mass text messages like we see during campaigns from candidates about what issues are important to you. We can do that in non-election years as well.
Being accessible is very, very important. Commissioner at large, you're going to have an even greater responsibility compared to district commissioners. What's your number one either problem or goal that you're going to address? You start your first day. What will you be addressing? What's the biggest problem that Brownsville has moving forward?
The two biggest problems we have right now, because there are two, in my opinion. First is infrastructure, but infrastructure is something that's finally being dealt with by this administration. They have a capital improvement plan. We're working on streets. We've got streets that I can point to that are already completed. We've got streets that are under construction right now. So this isn't just, well, in the next 5 years, we'll get to it. This is, you can see today out there in the city that this is already a work in progress. It's already happened in some areas. It's currently happening in others. So you can know that the areas that are still to come, we're going to deliver on that. This isn't something that's just a vision in the future. You can put your eyes and feet on it today. So I'm not as worried about infrastructure because the resources are going to it to address it. So I think we're on the right track already for addressing the infrastructure. It's going to take several years to catch up on, but we're finally on the right track on infrastructure. The second problem we have is an economic development problem. And I'm not referring to our EDCs. I think they're both doing a great job at trying to stimulate the economy and ensure return on investment for the taxpayers with regard to the monies they spend. But I'm talking about the permitting process. I have not seen a significant enough improvement in the permitting process in the 4 years since I've been in office. And other cities have perfected this. This isn't something brand new. It's not some mystery that needs to be solved. There are models out there for how you have a department that is an advocate for citizens to help them get their businesses opened. We should not be here to say no. We should be here to say that may not work, but let's try this instead. Let me give you alternatives. Let me give you solutions. Let me, the city, help you get to your plan of getting your business open, and not 6 months from now and not 12 months from now or worse, but let's try and do this in the next 90 days or less, because that's what that department should be about, is being an advocate for citizens. Because once that business opens, whatever it is, wages in the economy, more jobs, sales tax revenue, it's a win for the citizens of Brownsville. So ensuring that process is efficient is of paramount importance. I don't think there's enough emphasis on it today, but I am in the minority on the commission. Until we see that change, we're not going to solve this problem. These elections will dictate whether or not that problem becomes a greater priority for the city of Brownsville, because today it has not been the priority it needs to be. And that is one of the things that's hurting the city the most, or holding us back the most.
I think the two most important things at this moment, Frankie, is going to be one, the comprehensive plan that I mentioned, and sticking to that, where this comprehensive plan will have the alignment of all the departments, and it's going to kind of have like a trickle effect, or a ripple effect. So basically, what we're discussing about the department for the small businesses that are having a permitting process. Okay, what do we need to do? So we need to put that information in this comprehensive plan. What do we need to do to ensure that businesses aren't waiting 6 months to get a permit? I was speaking to a small business a couple of weeks ago, and they were waiting 6 months until they had to, get to the next level of contacting some of the commission. And so then it kind of a month later got resolved, and they're spending like $30,000 or $40,000 in total of rent, and they shouldn't have to be spending that much money. This should be done within a timely manner. So having this comprehensive plan will resolve those issues, because again, this is our roadmap, our strategy for growth and development. So it's going to have that ripple effect to where the alignment of all the departments and the priorities of those departments will help that. And that's going to include the infrastructure. That's going to include the public safety. That's going to include the quality of life projects. That's going to include other priorities with whether it's marketing and tourism. So having that overarching comprehensive plan is going to help us, so that way we're not in this predicament of different things that are presented to us. The second thing is just being a hub of communication. And there's so many capital improvement projects that we are unaware of that our citizens need to know about. There's the complex that was addressed during the State of the City, the emergency ops. I think it's a public safety complex where there'll be fire, police, emergency operations on 511. There's just so many different projects, and that would be nice to go to a dedicated site, or even have that dialogue from the city to the constituents, to the city, Brownsville neighborhoods and community members that are informed about what's going on in our community, and not just see something that's going to be popping up in the next couple of months. And also any other partnerships that are going to be involved with other entities, with the port or with the county or anything like that. So I think that's also important for us to be aware of, so that way there's no misinformation, and there's also that communication streamlining.
Many have criticized organizations, groups such as BCIC and GBIC. Many have stated that they have helped políticos start new businesses. What's your message to business owners who haven't benefited from these grants that have been given out? What's your message moving forward? Will they be also given an opportunity down the road?
So, and this is a topic I love talking about. Economic development dollars are about investing in the community and ensuring a return on investment for the taxpayers whose money it is that we're spending out there. This is not welfare. This isn't everybody who wants a grant is going to get a grant. This is about, do you have a business plan? Is this likely to succeed? What impact is it going to have? How many jobs are you going to create? That is what economic development is about. And that's why when you've got, especially at the GBIC level, it's that you've got to commit to producing X, and that's usually number of jobs. And until you do that, you're not going to see the incentive dollars come. With local businesses, it's different through BCIC. You've got a lot of local businesses that are not politicos that are getting grants. You're always going to hear about the one that's got some type of political connection that's getting a grant, because that's what sells papers. That's what's in the headlines. And everybody's going to jump on that right away and say, was this politically motivated? But at the end of the day, the bigger question should be, is this creating jobs? Is it putting wages in the economy? And is it generating sales tax revenue? And is it a business that's going to close in a year? Or is it a business that's going to be here for the next 10, 15, 20 years? Because that should be the measure. It's not about everybody gets a piece. It's everybody who's got a valid business plan and business idea is entitled to have a right to apply for those and to be awarded those. And I think we've got some good individuals on those boards who are doing a good job of vetting the applicants and the business plans. And I know local businesses right now that I'm helping that have received grants previously, that it was their first time ever. And I've got one right now I'm working with that has already been approved to receive theirs first time ever. It's just a matter of getting in now the documentation to back up what they've already spent, because it's a matching grant. They've also got to, and that's important also, you've got to come to the table with money usually. It's not just, I'm here, where's my check? It's no, I'm bringing to the game $50,000. Can you match it? Or can you give me 100 against my 50? It's, I've got to have skin in the game. It's not about the taxpayers need to give me a check.
Yeah, no, I kind of would be agreeing with Roy here that it's not a type of welfare opportunity. It's more of how we can grow. Yes, if it's going to be an opportunity to provide jobs, sustainable jobs, a hourly rate that is marketable here in Brownsville, and having those dollars be matching. I think that's also important. I think the BCIC has done an absolutely tremendous job, has done a great job to bring it to the next level of entrepreneurship, and also providing our small businesses opportunities to grow with their business plans. I think that's they're doing a great job. I think we have to kind of reevaluate it and maybe even provide some other criteria so that way we can provide even existing businesses maybe some help here that, you know what, they are providing jobs and they are providing an hourly rate at a market rate, but what can we do to bring them up to the next level and not see them close after 20, 25 years? And that's something that we need to kind of evaluate and maybe help and provide resources for those, because we also want to include them and participate in the success of either downtown Brownsville or the industry park or different parts of the city. But I think that's something that we can also help and enhance our small businesses in economic development.
Public safety is important for our well-being. There have been talks about the city of Brownsville not having enough manpower, whether that be at the PD, not enough ambulances. What's your understanding of our current situation? Is it a lack of funds? Is it a lack of people not wanting to enter those professions? Where is Brownsville right now with public safety?
So with public safety, again, police take up a huge portion of our budget. I think it's close to 50% of the budget goes to law enforcement, first responders, things of that nature. And that's because it is a very costly endeavor, not just from thinking about the cost of a fire truck, but then all of the gear that a firefighter needs to do their job to ensure that we mitigate as much as possible the risks that they're taking to their lives when they go out there to respond to a call. Same with PD is, the ensuring that they have the equipment that they need. All of that costs money. And it's about how do we balance it? What the department is doing today and has been doing for these last 4 years that I've been a commissioner, they're making sure that they're very data driven. They're making sure with the police officers we have, we're looking at when are the peak times, what are the peak areas. Let's focus our patrols on these. That way, as the needs arise, we're in close proximity to try and respond. Is that always the case? Absolutely not. That's just the nature of the beast. But these guys are maximizing what they're doing with the resources that they are given. In order to give them more, again, it's about more tax dollars or finding more sales tax dollars that's a reliable source of income, because we can't have suddenly we have an extra $100,000 in sales taxes that we never had before, even let's say $1 million we never had before. Well, we can't say I'm going to hire 20 more people and expect that I'm going to see that $1 million every year. And then the next year it's gone. And now the city's in the red. How do you pay them? You can't do that. You've got to ensure that this is sustainable growth and that's a sustainable revenue stream. And typically what we do is we try to project anywhere from 60 to 80% of what the sales tax revenue is going to be. That's what we work into the budget so that everything above that can then be put to one-time expenses. And that's part of the design by the administration, by the city manager and her team and our chief financial officer. As I've mentioned before, this is, to the best of my recollection, the first time we've had a great comprehensive capital improvement plan, and they're executing on it. And that's part of it, is prioritizing and ensuring that we don't just make a plan for this is what we need to do, but we also look at how are we going to achieve it, and is that reasonable and sustainable?
As the city of Brownsville continues to grow, our departments are going to grow. And in light of public safety for our police and fire, we need to make sure that we recruit and retain our police officers and even firefighters, provide a retention stipend or some type of incentive that ensures that Brownsville, Texas, that our police department, this is your home, we're going to take care of you, and provide those incentives or those stipends for our current police officers and our firefighters. Also, in the line of recruiting, we need to provide that. And even the storytelling aspect of it is that Brownsville is a great community to live and raise your family. We live in a great place. We have a environment and atmosphere that we're bicultural, biliterate, bilingual, and that's something that's going to be attracting. And when we're recruiting our public safety employees for police and fire, so we want to also incorporate that into the messaging of seeking recruitment of police officers and firefighters as we continue to grow.
Vicente states, Erasmo used to say that people during the parameters for the grants were the same ones getting the grants. Is this true?
Yes and no. Sometimes it is individuals who've received grants before. Other times it's first timers. But again, it goes to, and this was a great example I gave during the Board of Realtors Forum. If you as an investor, because that's essentially what's happening, is we're investing the tax dollars that belong to the taxpayers, not from their property taxes, but even though they may have come through sales tax, it's still money that belongs to our taxpayers in Brownsville. We're taking their money and we're going to invest it. Are we going to invest it wisely is the question. And so let's say you want to build 10 houses to turn a profit. Are you going to say, let me find 10 random builders and give everybody a shot and let's see how they do and let's see what the quality's like? Or are you going to find the 3 or 4 best builders in the area and make sure you're building the best product you can and getting top dollar when you sell it? And then you've got peace of mind at night that you didn't sell to a first-time family a home that's going to be falling down in 12 months or 24 months or 5 years, but it's a home that's going to last them forever. Same thing applies here. Is do we want to just say, hey, anybody who walks up, you don't have to give me a business plan, everybody's going to get a grant, or we're only going to give it to people that have never opened a successful business before? That doesn't make sense. If you haven't had success in the past, or rather if you have had success in the past, that absolutely needs to be a factor, because we want these dollars to generate a return on investment. And the best way to ensure that they do is ensure you've got a solid business plan behind it and hopefully a solid track record as well.
What is y'all's message to the mom and pops businesses, restaurants that possibly aren't located in downtown Brownsville? How is Mr. Moody, Mr. De Los Santos, at the at-large position going to help them grow?
The great thing is we're already seeing that happen throughout the city today. I know District 3 geographically is the largest. Even after redistricting and reducing its size, geographically, it's still the largest district in the city. And when you think about the Pablo Quisel area and all the bars and restaurants around there, and I would say 90% of those are locally owned and operated. Captain Bob has a restaurant up there on Pablo Quisel. I know Edward Baron has a business up there. Rick Masso has a business up there. These aren't guys who are in the downtown game. And these are guys that are also playing in cities like South Padre and other areas, but they're Brownsville residents. So it's Brownsville locals that are succeeding. I know Leo Cortez over at the Lucky Barrel. He used to be on Spring Mart with the Doghouse. Now he's at the Lucky Barrel. And my God, he does an amazing job out there. But again, it's something that's locally owned and operated, and they're packing the place. And it's locals who are doing it outside of the downtown area. So it's absolutely possible. And we will definitely work to ensure that our economic development grants are available not just to one area of the city, but in multiple. But keep in mind, when you've got dollars already coming in to be invested in an area, and District 3 North Side, that's one of them. There you've got newer streets, newer infrastructure. You shouldn't have a problem opening any type of business you want in District 3 on the north side. But downtown, you've got aging infrastructure, buildings that are historic in nature and have a lot more upkeep to them. And I know there were areas of town where if you wanted to go in and put in a full restaurant, full kitchen, you couldn't do it because you can't get enough water pressure for the fire suppression systems. And PUB was going to want the business owner to foot the bill to upgrade the infrastructure. And that should not be the case. So what the city of Brownsville is doing is we're ensuring that all the infrastructure gets upgraded so that any citizen who wants to come open a business has access to the same type of services they can get on the north side. They don't have to foot the bill themselves.
One of the things that we, if elected to the at-large position, is looking at a marketing communications plan and having a rotating vision for the city's small businesses. So let's just say if you have a business in District 1 or 2 or 3 and 4. So having a rotating marketing communications plan to where we're going to promote your business, on a rotating basis, to where if you have a business in District 1, we're going to rotate at this time. If you're in District 2, we're going to rotate it and promote it this time, 3 and 4 and so forth. So that way there's like an even amount of promotion, because I was posed the questions like, well, what about the small businesses, or what about the restaurants or the plazas, let's just say of North Brownsville, where there's Mr. Taco or Wing Barn, or in the northern part of the Brownsville right before Mito, and so what is the city going to do to help us promote that there's also venues or establishments up here? And so that's something that I want to bring forth to the table, of having some type of rotating promotion where we're promoting businesses in different districts at the different times, so that way there's an even circle amount of information being passed out.
We are a week away from early voting. Very important issues are on the ballot. In closing remarks, why should the citizens of Brownsville consider you to lead them on the city?
Well, Frankie or Roy, you want which one?
There you go. Your picture went big before mine did.
Well, what sets me apart, Frankie, is that I have a 20-year span of public service of experience, and I'm going to just kind of reiterate it, that I've worked for a city, I've worked for a county, I've worked for a major nonprofit with Fortune 500 companies, and also in the education sector, and now myself as a small business. So again, for those 20 years, I have this vast, unique experience that I'm going to bring forth to the city of Brownsville, to our community, to our citizens, and be innovative, be creative, and thinking outside of the box, so that way everybody has a voice. I'm here to move all generations forward. I'm here to be a city commissioner, to listen to those that have concerns or challenges. I'm here to represent, my parents. I'm here to represent other family members, or even friends, or even small businesses, or even the new family that has moved into a home, and they're kind of worried about whether or not the drainage is worried, or I'm sorry, if they're going to be worried about the drainage is being fixed because of the flooding issues, or a small business that is struggling and they want to thrive. So with this experience, I'm going to bring forth to the city of Brownsville, to our citizens, to our constituents, be a voice for the different districts across push forward public safety as a priority, because I lived in a law and order household. I know what it's like to be on the front lines. I know what it's like to be an essential worker, myself included, as a public information officer working for various entities. Yes, we have some projects that need to be looked at and evaluated, from infrastructure to capital improvements and quality of life. We have great EDC projects that are coming forth. We have great entities and organizations. I think we just need to kind of tweak them just a little bit, evaluate them, survey them, get some feedback from our certain stakeholders on how to bring it to the next level and enhance them. So those are the reasons why I'm running for city commissioner. I have a passion for public service, and I'm looking forward to be the next city commissioner at large B.
So with regard to experience that I bring, I'll go first into my professional experience, and I have backgrounds in healthcare administration, in the hospitality industry, and then I spent 25 years with AT&T in corporate America, where I did everything from answering the phone. First and foremost, I started as a Spanish-speaking billing operator when I started with AT&T back in '99. Back then it was SBC Communications from the old Southwestern Bell. Moved up the ranks. This was before I even had a college degree. Just a kid from Southmost, educated in public school, moved up the ranks of management to become senior management, where then I headed up our partnerships with satellite providers, both Dish Network and DirecTV. And then I managed customer experience nationwide for all of our video products, followed by customer experience nationwide for all of our retail stores. So ensuring that the experience of the customer, that's no different than ensuring the experience of our citizens, is of paramount importance. And sometimes that's hard to balance in corporate America, because you've got stockholders who are about, when is my dividend going up? When is my check coming in? Not about how many jobs are creating, and not about what the customer experience is. And I had to be the voice to ensure that we balance that and let them know that the happier your customers are, the more likely you are to see an increase in dividend. But you've got to make the customers the priority. And I was always the voice of the customer when I was in the customer experience division. I brought that same experience to Brownsville. Over those 25 years I was with AT&T, I was still working in Brownsville with different nonprofit organizations. The most notable, of course, is Sombrero Festival. I think that's what most people know me from. But I'm also on the board of the Mr. Amigo Association, chairman for the Texas Southmost College Foundation, which manages an endowment of multi-million dollars for the sole purpose of generating revenues to be able to provide scholarships to kids who want to go to school. That's my track record. Over the course of these last 30 years, I did go back to school and finish my undergrad and then got a master's in business administration. And then as city commissioner, what I've been able to apply, and any citizen who has kept up with the commission and who watches city commission meetings will tell you, that commissioner is the one that comes in the most prepared. He always has questions and he always knows the issues better than his peers. And that's because I do my homework. And it's not to say that others don't, but when you combine the willingness to work that hard with the experience that I bring from corporate America and from my personal life and my nonprofit world, when you put those two together, you get a result that is tremendous for the citizens of Brownsville. That helps to ensure the accountability of staff, of administration, to be delivering for the people and to be transparent for the people. And we need that type of experience to ensure we continue the trajectory that we're on. We know, everybody sees, and I see it, I hear it from citizens all the time when I ask them, what more can I do for you? And so often I hear, keep up the good work. We see the progress, we see the improvement, we see what still needs to be done, but you're clearly working on it. But we see that you're always prepared. Keep doing that. Keep coming in, asking those tough questions to make sure that we're not just trusting, but also verifying that we're getting what we're owed as citizens of Brownsville. And I'm very proud that I've done that solidly my first 4 years, and quite possibly better than any commissioner has prior to me in this role. And I commit to keeping that up in the future to ensure, again, not just that I will be asking the toughest questions, but God willing, if things go the right way with these elections, to ensure that every commissioner has a seat at the table, everybody's voice is heard, because every one of them represents people of Brownsville, and no citizen of Brownsville should be left out.
Gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. I wish each and every one of you good luck on your race. We commend those individuals that want to seek a better community, want a better Brownsville. So thank you for your time, and good luck. Good luck on your races.
Thank you, Frank.
Again, we're 1 week away from early voting. Very important issues are on the ballot: the venue, the different races at the city level. We have District 3, District 4, and the at-large position. Good morning, Mr. Tijerina. Yes, again, we do have a whole week of early voting. I encourage anyone that would like to participate. We will always share our platform with those individuals that are running for public office. So, Mr. Tijerina, if you're interested, I did send out an invitation also to Mr. Garcia. It's kind of hard once you learn the dynamics of podcasting. It's kind of hard to get more than 3-4 people on Garcia, because once it's too many people, someone's not going to speak enough, or it's going to get we're limited of time. I have production in my ear already screaming for me to get off. But Mr. Garcia, Ms. Golansky, the invitation is on the table. Again, we want the candidates to get as much exposure in front of the community, answering the questions, just as Mr. Commissioner de los Santos and Mr. Moody did earlier. So, Mr. Garcia, if you're free tomorrow, 9 a.m., the invitation is also extended to Nudith Golansky, and also for District 3 and 4 candidates as well. Thank you so much for your time and your attention. Make sure you tune in every Monday through Friday, 9 a.m., same Batman time, same Batman channel. Thank you so much for your time and your attention. Hope you all have a great Tuesday. God bless.